Hi, folks. We're here with Jill Sterkel, absolutely amazing swimmer. We want to understand more about her incredible adventure in the swimming world. Jill, thank you so much for joining us.
No,
It's
my
an
pleasure to
honor
be
to
here.
have you on our show. So you're a four-time Olympian, starting at just 15 years old and earning a gold medal inside a highly controversial situation that occurred in the Olympics, where you and your relay team overcame what seemed to be an insurmountable challenge. Our family watched the wonderful movie that USA Swimming and NBC Sports created about your Olympic experience called The Last Gold. And all of us were crying, including me. It's amazing. So let's dive right into it, Jill. What does 1976 mean to you?
Um, yeah, wow, that's a loaded question. I mean, it means to me, it's it's obviously one of the greatest moments in my life, but it also represents a lot of turmoil, a lot of I don't know, angst, I guess, and more importantly, I think it's a reminder of, I mean, I was fortunate enough to close out that week and win a gold medal. A lot of my teammates didn't have that opportunity, and to understand the pain and the anguish that they have had to go through, given the situation, given the cheating that was involved, it's hard to you know try to make sense of it all, I guess, or try to get to a place of peace with it, I guess. I mean, I think I'm there, and it's taken a while. I've had to really, at first I didn't really even have a total understanding of the pain that my teammates went through, just because I was so young and I was so sort of removed from a lot of it. And then of course my career just kept going on.
Right.
And so it wasn't until really some of these issues got addressed that I had the opportunity, uh kind of to see the effect that it had on my teammates, and that was powerful.
So you were the youngest of the four, right? At 15 years old, and just looking back at that from the point of view of a 15-year-old versus the other ones being maybe older, right? There must have been a whole different context that you had to it.
Yeah, and it's like, and anytime I talk about it, I have to sort of remind people. I mean, I had just turned 15, so the world through my eyes was I think a lot different. uh and I was very naive. I just didn't have a full understanding of even the fact that I was at the Olympics. I mean, I was at a swim meet. I was at another swim meet. And I had, I mean, growing up, I was, pretty much, a tomboy. I mean, I was like, kind of, I was just like, my brother was only like a year older than me, so we were very close in age. So I wanted to do a lot of the stuff he was doing, and my mentality was like, I can do anything. At that age, you think you're invincible, right? Like and so I think that was how, you know, my my mindset, or my frame, my headspace was going into that last relay. And I had three other people with me, and they were all talking about how we were going to win. So I was like, well, we're going to win. It's like, I didn't doubt them. They were, they knew what they were talking about. So
Oh my God. And
yeah.
that's kind of been the times that I've ever seen you race. You seem like you're invincible.
I mean, that's kind of the mindset I try to, get to before, when I'm on the blocks, is just basically, throwing down everything you have, and hopefully the
Right.
chips fall in your favor.
And you certainly do. So your relay went from four individuals that at the beginning of the Olympics barely knew each other, if at all, right, to coming together to beat an entire national system that was totally stacked against you. What kind of impact did those few minutes on that relay have on your life?
Well, I mean, it changed my life completely. I mean, first of all, I mean, we broke a world record, we won a gold medal, so that in and of itself, it's kind of, all the, the sort of the media type stuff. But it also forged an indelible mark on my life with those three individuals, right? Unfortunately, Kim's not with us, but Kim anymore. She passed away. I believe it was after the '84 Olympics.
She was 29 years old. Is that
Yeah,
right?
and
When she passed.
in '76, she took me under her wing and just, was just amazing. And you think about it, these women, they were women and I was a girl. It's like they took the time, to care about me. Wendy, and I had never met Wendy before. I had read about Kim. I knew who she was swimming wise, and of course Shirley was from Southern California, and so growing up, I was the little rugrat trying to beat her at every little age group meet there was. And I think it was kind of like, get away, this is like a stupid meet. But I'd be right there trying to race her and beat her. So I don't know, but then to forge that experience that we had together and walk away with it, we're still, we don't talk all the time, but I talk to Wendy obviously more than Shirley, but just sharing that experience has really meant the world to me, and it's also created this bond that will never go away.
Wendy said the same thing, just
Yeah.
it made people so close. And yeah, so here we have a 15-year-old Jill Sterkel getting ready to go in the race, right? And Wendy's right in front of you, and it looks like Kim's already right in process here. And I'm just first of all looking at the expression on Shirley's face, and she wants to know, I think something's gonna happen here, and you look like you're just going to carry out whatever needs to be carried out to me. Holy cow. Can you tell us a little bit about what that was feeling like there?
Yeah, I think, like we had prepared, we had talked about what we needed to do. We had, we went through the splits each we thought we would have to do in order to win. And now it was time to just execute. And I think this is like sort of like just game on, we're getting ready to go. And I think there's no, like, we're not talking because we're focused, on what we've already done the talking. Now it's time to do what we have to do. And I kind of feel like that's what this is about. It's like we're putting on our game faces, and, each one of us is, got a job to do, and nobody's going to take us out of that mode, I guess.
And each one of you performed individually in that group unbelievably well. I don't know how you moved your arms that fast. I was watching. Oh my gosh. Like that. I don't know if I've seen a swimmer move their arms that fast.
Fear, excitement. Yeah.
We're going to look at this picture.
That's one of my favorites.
Oh my gosh. It says it all right there. I don't even know if you have to say anything. Just the feeling must have been amazing.
Yeah, you as Shirley's coming to the wall, we're the last 10 meters or so, we pretty, it's like, just get here. And then when she does, it's just like everything just comes out, right? Like, I think all the frustration of the week that I think they experienced. I mean, I don't I don't know that I actually intuitively knew about that frustration, just because I was, I think, a little naive to it. But just the sheer fact that we beat these Germans, it's like we beat the bad guys, kind of, quote unquote, and I don't like to say it like that because, they're wonderful people, and they were, a disservice was done to them as well. But it's like, the David and Goliath type of experience, where you're taking down something that nobody thinks is possible. And,
right.
Then it just all sort of comes out of you when it happens, right? You're just like,
and that includes the media. Right? I mean, the media was not your friend, if I'm right there at all. Right.
Yeah, not at all. No,
Right.
they
And
didn't
so
get it.
everything, they were even saying, oh, sour grapes and all this other stuff,
Yeah,
when if they had known, that would have all been, that's not the way to go at all.
yeah. Well, if
Amazing.
there was any investigative reporting going on at the time, leading up, like even the 2 years leading up to it, it should have been something somebody picked up on, but
Right.
it just didn't happen that way.
Got it. Got it. Then we're going to switch to this picture. And that's a beautiful picture.
Yeah.
That's got Kim Payton on the left, right? Then
Yep.
you've got Wendy Folio, and then Jill, that's you right there.
Yep.
And then Shirley on the end. And they, I think Wendy was telling me that you guys decided to wear a little bit different outfit. Is that right?
And we had it all picked out. We knew, we see there's 2 blue shirts, there's 2 white shirts, there's the white suspenders and the blue suspenders. And I think down to the shoes, we had certain shoes that we wore. And this is what we were gonna wear when we won. When we were getting the gold medal, and this is what we were gonna do. So
Fantastic.
yeah, so it was I'm a little disappointed I still don't have my suspenders.
So tell me, who are some of the key players who helped you become the amazing person you are now?
Well, I would have to say my parents. They I feel like they had the right amount of everything, right? Like, it's raising they raised 3 of us, and we all competed in sports. And while I may have been sort of the one that was the better one of our family, like, you would have never have known that within the family dynamics. We were all the same. We all did what we did, and there was nothing, I guess, quote unquote special. You know what I mean? Like, it was just treated
You were
normally.
treated equally.
Yeah, yeah. And growing, I was, in all honesty, I was a goof off when it came to practices with swimming and stuff. Like, a lot of times I would be playing pine cone tag during practice, and like, I would, like, we're doing, I don't know, we had so many people in a lane, and there was no lane lines. It was hard to keep track of people. So you could sit at the other end of the pool and let people come by, and then just get back in and swim some more. And I'm pretty sure I made a lot of people angry.
You were a sprinter, I understand.
Yeah, yeah. So and then it's like, I just think I grew up in a really healthy environment. Just kind of, it's like, I don't know, just there was not an overemphasis put on swimming, and my parents weren't like that. They would work meets and be at the meets, but they weren't those parents that, like, were all up in it, right, about your times and about different things. They kind of knew what was going on, but it didn't really matter to them if I broke an American record, or, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't.
Yeah, they weren't pushing you, if
Yeah.
I'm understanding, and dragging you into it.
Yeah, pushing me, and then it wasn't like, you got to do this, it was just like, it would just sort of all happen, and they were like, okay.
So you compete in the 50 freestyle, right? And that's the fastest competitive swimming event, right? You're competing in the fastest event there is, and you're a member of this tiny group that races at the fastest speeds on Earth for humans. And you don't just compete in those events, you dominated them in many ways. And I've seen it happen, and you're just absolutely amazing. Let's talk strategy just for a moment. Is there a strategy in the 50 freestyle?
Other than go fast? There is. Like, there's like pieces to it, like the start and the turn and the finish are all crucial, right? You've got to nail those. And so you have to know, how to, you have to be prepared to execute it and be on target, I would say. And then really beyond that, it's swimming as fast as you can, but then, breathing, are you going to breathe? A lot of times I wouldn't breathe at all in a 50-yard free. And 50-meter free, I would typically have one breath plan. Sometimes, you get taken out of your whatever and you take more than you think you're going to. But I think, for me, it was just like, go as fast as you can. And it's, when you start getting close to the wall, it's like you just visualize somebody pulling you towards the wall, pulling you towards the finish so that you can get your hand on the wall. And, so that type of strategy, yes. And then I think, the other strategy is just preparation and training and doing the things that you need to do to get you so that you believe you can go fast, right?
Right.
I think a lot of the things that you do in training or the way that you train or the attitude that you take towards training, I've always felt like if you go in and you give everything you have in training and you're doing those things, there's no way you're going to fail when it comes to the race because you're prepared, and you should know you're prepared. And so getting up on the blocks, you can have that sort of swagger or that look like, I am going to dominate because this is what I do. I've prepared for this. And so I think that was kind of the mindset that I had.
Got it.
Most of the
But
time,
it definitely showed from a performance standpoint that was whatever you were doing was working.
It's like, no. And like growing up, obviously I just told you, I wasn't the hardest worker. I think I really didn't become a student of the sport until I got to college, to be honest with you. To really, when you talk about work and success ratio, I feel like when I got to college, I was a little bit more serious about my swimming than, growing up, I cared about it, and I had great coaches, I had great people in place. It's just that I didn't take it very serious, even though I was successful,
Right.
So
sometimes that leads to that because you don't feel the pressure of it.
yeah. And I think it also, my longevity in the sport, I think probably that had a lot to do with it, not taking things so seriously. And, because I think you can really wig yourself out.
Right. You're not constantly marinating in it.
Yeah.
Thinking about other things and
Yeah.
got it. So you've been able to see our race map tool and things like this. And one of the things that does, it comes out and it develops a cycle rate. And it allows our swimmers to understand the rate down to the hundredth of a second, how fast they need to move those arms. How do you think that helps an athlete now that, you've been a college coach for years, a tremendous college coach. How do you think that helps somebody if they know that beforehand?
I think it can help tremendously. I feel like, what people are doing now in terms of teaching kids how to swim, like race. All all that information is so helpful to get kids to understand how it is they go faster and what are the things that they can do. Because it's not just trying harder. It's how it's like you hear the thing like, swim smarter, right? Like I didn't know what a breathing pattern was until I got to college. And so it's like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. It made the 200 free a lot easier. I'll tell you that, like breathing,
I bet.
and it wasn't because I didn't have great coaches. It was just because that, like it wasn't in the repertoire of things that, I think that people were teaching. And so now, it's like, you take that and move it forward to, to tempo and to those type. Even when I was coaching, tempo was just starting to be talked about. So I was like, I still don't feel like I know it 100%, I feel like, I was really good with splits and having an understanding of like, if this is how fast you can go in the 50, this is how fast you need to be out in the 100, or this is how fast you should go out in the 200, things like that. And then, what your split should be after the first 50 and things like that. So, I feel
So
like
your pacing and things like that was,
a lot of that was what I learned. I kind of feel like when I was in college, like those types of things. And then breathing pattern and establishing a breathing pattern and how important that is to not hold your breath in a 200, like,
Right.
things that can help you finish a race. And, but I mean, I even think great swimmers today need to be reminded of some of those things, just because sometimes you can get in over your skis or get in over your, and get too excited or to, you're, you know, having the perfect race, right? Like when you're talking about everything, it's hard to get kids to get there, right? Because there's so many little things that can go that they could do better the next time.
I think the really massive field, and I think there's a lot of pieces in here because I don't think the swimmers really understand the energy systems well. So while they're training, they're still not focused on like, oh, this is what this is doing for me, which can be very motivating and understanding. But I
Yeah,
think it comes back to the big field that we see is the mind.
yeah,
That's wide open, and unfortunately they don't have a lot of mental training. Now I was going to ask you, even back when you were training, what type of mental training did they have prior to going into that race that you had in 76? What type of mental training did you have? How did you prepare to handle that?
I don't, all honesty, I don't know that we had much. I mean, other than what I think individuals may have sort of figured out work for them on their own, right? And for me at the time, the mantra was just kind of like, I mean, I always was the tallest one in the class. I was always the biggest, so it was like, you're not gonna come in here and push me around. Like, you know what I mean? It was just that sort of that,
Like an attitude almost.
yeah, yeah.
Got it.
And then we did some, we talked about when we were preparing for the relay in 76, we talked about, visualizing it, visualizing our race, how we were going to do it, the things we were going to do. So I do think there was some value in that. Like, I mean, at the time when I swam the 100 free, because that was a distance event for me back then.
Yeah.
It was like, I'd kind of go down, not really using my legs. I would just use my arms, and then I would nail the turn because I felt like I had really good turns. That was one of my sort of strengths, and then come off the wall and then really bring my legs into it, and then just hope that my legs could last the whole 50. Well, I mean,
Interesting.
yeah, I mean, you look down, like the 500's a sprint, right? The way people are racing
Right.
it, like, I mean, it's incredible.
That's absolutely true because you're switching farther and farther into a speed energy system,
Yeah.
right? The faster they go, the closer they get to a speed based versus endurance based.
Right.
Amazing. So, in your opinion, what role does the mind play in your races?
Well, I mean, I think the mind is everything, right? Like if if you think you can, right? Like I feel like and I think one of the reasons probably why we were successful in 76 is we didn't open the door to failure at all. I mean, it was only talking about and preparing to win. Now, I mean, anybody, there would have been no normal human being who would have voted or put money down for us to win that race. I mean, it was just absolutely illogical. But we didn't allow that to affect our thought process. So I mean, for us, we put ourselves in a position to where if the door were to open itself, we were ready to walk through it. And I think anytime you prepare for a race, that's how you need to be. I remember thinking like, in college, we would have a lot of dual meets, right? And so we would go, you'd just go anywhere. People, maybe a team that, doesn't quite have the same kind of caliber swimmers that, say I was at the time, right? But I would always prepare as if this person was going to give me their best and take me to the wall. Because if I didn't, I was going to get caught by surprise. And that's a hard way to race, like coming from like getting taken out of your game or somebody like going out on you and you're not expecting it, right? So I definitely think the mind is everything when it comes to racing. And how you prepare yourself, I think individually, everybody's a little bit different, but it's like preparing for your race strategy and then trying to make it happen, I guess. And not letting, I remember swimming, this is weird. I remember swimming against Mary T. Maher at Brown Deer, where she broke the world record in the 100-meter fly. She went like 57 something. It was crazy,
Amazing.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm right next to her, and when I'm swimming against her, I'm usually out first. Like, you know, I'm at the 50, I'm out first. And this time, I think we were even, or she might have been a little ahead of me. And I was thinking, oh, come on, get going. Like, what's going on? You know, and it was like, the door opened to where I could be like, well, I must not be doing very well because she's out ahead of me and I should normally be here. And it was like, okay, just keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Hold your stroke together, talking to myself to get to the wall. And when I touched the wall, I was like, I did like a 00 something. And that was like a great swim for me. So I was thinking, and then I'm thinking, well, what did she do?
Yeah.
And I'm looking up there, I'm like, what? So it's like, you know, I think you have to be, you know, careful, because I think self-talk is a huge piece to swimming. And, you know, I think unfortunately sometimes there's a lot of people who have negative self-talk, and even before the race starts. And I think that they have to change that if they want to be successful.
So if we zoomed out on that race in 1976, right, we kind of take a look at it in today's world. You said that people, you bet they would be crazy to bet against you, or on you. Now, if you look at the whole thing, now you can see that the fact that there was cheating and things like this, they would have been even more crazy to bet against you now.
Yeah. I try to explain to people, it was like, you know, during the week, you know, that Olympics was a week long. And for me, you know, I was swimming the 100 free and the 200 free. So the 100 free was prelims, semis, and then finals. And then the 200 free was prelims. I didn't make the finals. I got 9th. But so I was busy taking care of myself throughout the week, and I didn't really see a lot of what was happening in the pool at night, you know. So like, I didn't see our medley relay get second by, you know, 25 meters. And if I mean, I don't think I did. I don't remember seeing that, because I think I would have thought, wow, that's a big gap, you know.
Right, you have to consider it at that point and process it. But in this
yeah,
case,
you know, so I was fortunate enough not to maybe see how bad we were getting beat by, right? And, you know, I mean, I saw some of Shirley's races, obviously, and the ones I was in were, you know, the 100 was pretty close, because the 100 is, you know, fairly close anyways. So I think that helped me made it easier for me to get my mind to where we can beat these people, right? Because I don't think I had sort of the whole picture, so to speak, sobering picture of how difficult this might be.
You were kind of in some ways not attempting to, but you were almost sheltered in a way,
yeah,
from what was going on a little bit.
Yeah.
And plus your attitude, like at 15, let's just get out our fists and do it.
Yeah.
I love it. So how much, because I hear this sometimes from some coaches that they'll say, oh, strength doesn't matter, or things like this. How much would you say strength plays a part in your races?
Well, I definitely think so. I mean, I think it plays a huge part. I mean, it's like you have to, so like whatever your body type is, you've got to be strong enough to pull that through the water, right? And then figuring out the most efficient and effective way to do that. Clearly, I feel like I think you can teach that, but I feel like, you know, you always hear like people are naturals. I mean, I kind of feel like I had a natural feel for the water, and I don't know how to describe it, but like, even, you know, the other day we were out at the lake, and I could go in the middle of the lake and just kind of sit there and maybe move my foot, like just every now and then, and I stay completely above the water just fine. You know, maybe my hand sculls every now and then, but I don't, you know, it's like really learning, and I don't know how it happens, but, you know, it's just like and then you're sitting next to somebody else who maybe isn't, they know how to swim, but they're just not as
Adept
gifted.
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
I don't
we
know,
did,
like, but strength and power, and like, I always felt like, I mean, I was strong. I mean, I was lean, I was strong, and powerful, but I was like, I felt like a lot of times I might have been more strong than I was powerful, especially as I got older,
Mhm.
really trying to transfer that strength into power and speed. I think I feel like there's a wealth of knowledge still left untouched there.
So in your opinion, because you spent your whole life in and around swimming pretty much, why do you think kids should get involved in swimming?
Well, so that they can not have an accident. I mean, everybody should learn how to swim. Um, you know, and I'm still shocked when some of my friends tell me like they're afraid of the water, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this. You're coming with me. You're not gonna be afraid of the water. Like, you need to learn how to, you know, and I mean, I think teaching every young kid just the skills to survive in water is huge. I mean, it's horrible when you hear those stories, where, and it just breaks my heart, because it's like, these are things, these are skills, these are life skills that everybody should have. And it's like we mandate so many things in this world, and yet the things that could save a life, a lot of times we don't mandate. And you know, just being able to get to the side of the pool, or understanding that, oh, if I just put my feet down, I can stand up. So you hear kids drowning in like not a lot of water. And if they would have just known to get their feet underneath them, they could stand up and breathe. So I mean, I don't do a whole lot in that form, but I think it's super important.
From what I'm understanding, I was listening to a speech the other day on it, that the number one killer of children is drowning.
Yes.
This has got to stop.
Yeah.
We have the information to stop this. If you think about a disease, right, and how hard it is to end a disease, this is simple to solve.
And I
Right?
think that's the thing. Yeah. Sometimes we can't, what is it? You can't see the tree. You can't see the trees in the forest.
Forest for the trees, right?
It's like, here it is. It's like, this is an easy way to, and even if it's through the school system, I know I was shocked at the statistics when I saw them.
So folks, if you haven't watched The Last Gold, sit down and watch it tonight. It is absolutely phenomenal. You'll see real life heroes like Jill and her teammates who fought back against all odds. And we need more heroes in life right now. And I got to tell you, we got one right here on the show to come back and show everyone the way a hero feels, thinks, and acts. It's going to amaze you. And it's going to probably make you want to jump up and start swimming, or get in the pool. Jill, thank you so much for joining us here today to tell your story. And I know there's a lot more to tell, so we hope you'll come back and visit us again with more of your incredible insight that you offer the world of swimming. And a personal thank you for being here.
No, thank you for having me. I'll come back anytime.